Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Gimpy, and I'm here with the final part of my review through covering DVG's Gato Leader. I'm just going to take and go ahead and jump right in. Actually, no, I'm not. I got one thing I got to say. Winner of my giveaway last month, make sure you message me. I haven't heard from you yet, so get that to me if you see this video. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a little more time, and then I'm going to toss it back out to the wild and let someone else claim it. So hurry up and get that message to me. All right, when we left off, I kind of covered the setup and all that good stuff when we were ready to set to sea. So I went ahead and zoomed back in here on the tactical map itself where we're moving around, and you guys remember I'm using the guard fish as my submarine, and I explained all this other goofy stuff. So what we're doing is we are coming down here and we're going to the Caroline Islands. Now you can see, since we're moving into it, we're going to have one event card we've got to take care of, and then I'm going to take and do some contacts here. So let's take and grab a event card and see what we get. We got ourselves, I'll throw it in the corner for you guys, actually it'll be easier for you to see. Ultra Incept, add 1 to contact rolls in this campaign map zone for this submarine. So okay, this is actually good. Well, indifferent. Let me grab a counter. I should have a ultra counter laying right here somewhere. There we go. And we'll throw that there, and that constitutes a +1 on this contact roll, and I'd already paid the SO points for that +2 from the intel, so I'm getting a +3 as it is right now anyway. So the minimum amount of contacts that I can get is actually 1. So that works out pretty well. No matter what, you guys will see a contact at this point. Now there is a negative modifier when you're moving into an area when you're rolling for contacts, and I want to say it's -2. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I'm looking in the rulebook now. I should have checked it before we started, but we're going to say it's -2 and just call it a wash, and we'll roll real quick and see what kind of contacts we're going to get for our mission here. We got a 6 changed up to a 7, which means we've got 1 contact. So we will place our little contact marker here, and you'll place that there. There's a multitude of them, and as you draw contact cards, you're going to take and flip these over to signify that you've burned through all the contacts that you can see there's a couple different ones to cover all the different contacts that you can have. So we're just going to have 1 contact. I'm going to go ahead and back the camera out from here and bring us down to the actual battle map itself so we can get started there. Okay, we're here down at our battle map itself. We're getting ready to draw our 1 contact card. I want a convoy card. I went ahead and waited. I was thinking I'll go ahead and draw it and throw the counters down, but I wanted you guys to see the whole deal. So we're going to take and draw 1 card, see what we got, and we've got just 2 merchants. I might just take and throw an escort in there as well so you guys can see that, but we will deal with that as we come on it. I'm missing one of my merchant counters. Give me just a second. Let me find one here. My unknown merchant counters. Where are they? Here we go. Okay, so you're going to take and place your counters down just like that. Let's take and actually zoom in just a little bit more, because you guys don't need to see all the other goofy stuff there. So here's our little setup. You can see on the card itself that they take and show you where the ships are going to be. So it's going to be in relation to this center circle here, and then they can occasionally be on the outside of it as well. Now normally your submarine is not going to take and be able to spawn anywhere except for this outer ring, and part of the reason I'm not too worried about being zoomed in is because my submarine has the infiltrator perk, which makes it to where I can take and start anywhere in the short, medium, or long range. So I can start anywhere around here, and I'm kind of thinking I'll start over here That way, when we do lag movement, which you guys will see here in a little bit, if I want, I can drift next to them or I can drift right into them. But I automatically determine who these guys are when I'm at a range of up to 2 away from them. So right here at the start, I'm going to go ahead and get to identify those guys. And just to save us a little bit of time, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Well, let me take and draw my one more convoy card to see what our event is going to be for this. There's a special condition. The special condition is going to be oil targets score double victory points for each tanker. So if we have any tankers here in these, we'll actually get double points for that. So that's actually a pretty cool thing. So we're going to draw a merchant card now. First merchant card is an escort. Okay, well this actually takes care of the thing. I was thinking once I got done identifying those, I would go ahead and throw a escort on there, but this will take care of it. This ship was misidentified as a merchant. Replace the ship counter with an escort. Now, had it been an actual escort anyway, what you would have seen would have been one of these little red ones with a little question mark on it. Since we're identifying that, we'll go ahead and draw an escort card for it, and we got the CH-8 submarine chaser, and it's got a whole bunch of little stats on it. So we'll take and throw that one down. Give me a sec. I got them laid out here so I could try to grab them quick. Okay, found him. All right, so we got the CH-8. And like I'm saying, I'm going ahead and doing this now because I know I'm starting at short range. I know I'm going to start in a range where I can normally detect them. But had I started on the outside, if I hadn't had that infiltrator perk that my submarine comes with, I would not be doing this step right now. I'm just going ahead and doing it to save trouble when we're doing the combat. So let's draw our next merchant card. Let's see what we're going to have. We're going to have the Soho Maru, and this is a freighter, so it's not a tanker, so that doesn't do any good for us. It does have the ability to ram, but it doesn't have any surface abilities. So really the only scary one I've got is one escort there on the board that can potentially do me any harm, but I am submerged, which means he can't detect me because he can only detect submerged up to 0 and 1. He can detect surfaced up to 2. So if I drop down this way instead of here, he's not going to be able to detect me. So I could actually do, when we do our lag movement, which is where everything kind of falls back and the convoy's kind of streaming along, if I go here, I can do a little straight shot of torpedoes right across them. Maybe it'd just take them both out. All right, so let me grab a counter for him. Find his naval counter over here. Is this one it? Soho Maru. Yes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and replace those. All right, now we are set up for the beginning of our tactical mission here. Okay, so this is going to be similar to other DVG games as we go along our sequence of play here. There's your slow guys going and then your fast guys going, but this actually starts with the movement. So you're going to handle all of your movement and then you're going to do your attack. So your submarines are going to move and then you're going to do what's called lag movement. So for me, I'm actually not going to move. There's no point because I know I'm going to drift one down because of this lag movement. And the way lag movement works in this, okay, so you're going to pick a merchant vessel with the highest speed to use as your reference point. For us, it's not going to matter because both of these guys are the same speed. So anything slower than that is going to drift down your little convoy wake down here to the bottom. So you'll move everything down one accordingly. These guys are going to stay right here in the center, but my submarine is going to be drifted down because since I'm submerged, I only have a speed of 1, as you can tell on the counter there in the top right. So when I drift down, I could drift down like this, or I could drift down like this. I'm going to drift down like this because it keeps me out of detection range of this escort over here. And I can just go balls to the wall, fire all my torpedoes at them, and try to blow these guys the hell out. And just finish this out in one go and just be done with the little SOBs. So once you've done your lag movement, escorts are going to do detection and movement, and the escorts are going to take and move randomly if they haven't detected you. If I had gone here, he would have rolled for detection, and if you look on his card here, the CH8, since I'm submerged, his detection rating is a 7, which means he would need a 7 or higher to detect me. Okay, actually, maybe I should just take and go there. Yeah, if I go there instead, that's not a good chance that he's going to detect me. And the modifiers for it, there are no modifiers that are going to apply, so he's going to need a natural 7 or higher to take and detect me. The odds are in my favor that he's not going to detect me, not greatly, but fairly decently in my favor that he's not going to detect me, and it would make sure that I could put rounds at these guys depending on where they move. So yeah, okay, we're gonna take and go here. When I drifted, instead of drifting this way, I drifted this way in the lag movement, and we'll try to blow them out in one go. Oh no, yeah, we'll go with it, because let's play the odds. Because all right, you see where it says surfaced, detect 5. So if I was surface, it'd be easier for him to detect. And then to the right of that, where it says too light, I'll put it in the corner so you guys can see it easier. That's the damage that these guys do. So this guy actually doesn't do a whole lot of damage. So if he were to hit me, I would take 2 light chits from our cup here and apply those to my submarine, whatever the results would be. It would be the same with our merchant vessel here if he were to ram me, but instead he would do 1 heavy. Again, you can see surface NA, so he can't do anything to me as far as like gunnery, but he could ram me. So some of the merchant vessels can do that. Now the numbers there at the bottom of the merchant card and on the escort card, those are the numbers for me attacking him. If I roll equal to, but not up to this, if I roll equal to the first number, I do light. If I roll equal to the second number, I do heavy, and equal to the final number, I destroy him. So if I were to fire a torpedo at this freighter, if my total score was a 3, I would do 1 light damage to him. Total score was a 4, I'd do 1 heavy, and total score was a 6, I would destroy him. There are modifiers that are going to affect it. All those are listed down on your little help sheet that you keep your cards on. Okay, so let's take and roll, or on the detection table, see if our escort has detected us. We're wanting to see a 1 to 6 here. 3, perfect. Okay, so this works well. Our plan is sticking, so he did not detect us. If he had detected us, we would have taken and thrown the detection marker on there. So, oh, I did forget to mention, I'll put a note on the earlier part of the video, but when we do establish, when we attack a convoy like we have, you take this warning -2 contact and you place it on the area that you were in. So go ahead and throw that down there. Like I said in the previous video, that's just because if you attack a convoy, they're going to radio out to the other convoys and say, hey, we're under attack. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit more for our attack here on these guys. Okay, so when we're getting ready to attack here on them, we do have to do our escort movement after they've done their detection. And if these guys do not detect, then they're going to move randomly. You're going to take and roll the die, and on a 1 to 3, an escort in short range moves 1 counter area counterclockwise. Let's see, if he's in the center, where's he going to move? I'm more used to the escorts being like detected. In one of the 4 convoy areas, the escort moves 1 area to a randomly determined adjacent short range area. Okay, so he is going to take and move either here, here, or here. So we'll take and do 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and 7 to 9, determine where he's going to go. And I'm hoping he's going to go 1 to 3, because that'll put him at range 1 of me instead of range 2. So let's see where he goes here. Because if he goes here or here, we're going to be at range 2. Let me back it out a little bit so you guys can see my roll here. 2! That's what I'm talking about. I'm doing well on this one. Alright, so he's going to go right here. Alright, this is perfect. This puts us right where we need to be. We've got him at range 0. We've got him at range 1, which is going to give us a -1 modifier when we are attacking him. So let's take and get our torpedo on here. Alright, now I'm going to fire my torpedoes at both of these 2 targets. And I gotta say, the torpedo attacks in this game, it took me a little bit to get my head around it because there's a lot of different little modifiers that come into play, and then loading and the unloading and how many you have ready and all that other good stuff. So I'm gonna take and fire 4 torpedoes at the merchant ship, and I'm gonna fire 6 torpedoes at the escort. So this is my entire complement of ready torpedoes. I'm just laying them out here just to keep track of who I'm firing what at. Now I would suggest taking and getting some extra D10s to roll, because the game only comes with 1 and you're going to be rolling a D10 per torpedo that's going to be fired. Now the first thing that you're going to do when you're firing your torpedoes is you're going to see if you have any duds. Now let me back this out a little bit to show you guys. Yeah. If you guys remember, I talked about this dud chart here, and normally I would be on this 1943 column here, since that's the year of the campaign I'm doing, which means only a 7 to 10 would take and put me into all my torpedoes run correctly. But I paid for that torpedo mod upgrade, which puts me in the 1944 to 45, which means a roll of 4 or higher is going to be all my torpedoes running correctly. And you want all your torpedoes to run correctly because you get a bonus to your torpedo hit based on the amount that hit. All right, so there's like this spread modifier. You gain a bonus to your torpedo rolls for the multiple of non-dud torpedoes fired at the same target at the same time. So if I fire, and that's -1 there at the end. So if I fire 4 at this guy and all 4 hit, then I get 4 -1 as a modifier for my torpedo attack on this guy, which means I would get a +3 on top of my natural skill of +3, which would give me a 6 off the bat before even rolling dice when trying to attack this merchant vessel here. Firing at this guy, I would have a similar effect. If all 6 of these hit, I would have a 5 added to it, which is good because there's a -1 for the range there. The farther you are, the less likely it is you're going to hit. So let's take and zoom back down here and get ready for our attack. Now, oh, I did forget to mention that, or I mentioned earlier, it's going to be your aggressive torpedoes or aggressive submarines, and then enemy ships will attack, and then you're cautious. My guy is a cautious submarine. The thing is, neither one of these guys have detected me. They can't attack anyway, so there's no aggressive or enemy ships attacking, so my submarine's just going out balls to the wall here, firing everything he's got. Now do keep in mind on your help sheet, there is all the different modifiers for firing guns, firing torpedoes, for the game, and things like if the enemy is light damaged or heavy damaged is going to affect your torpedo rolls as well. So make sure you check those modifiers out. Now let's take and add this up here. Oh, okay, now I need to take and roll for my dud. As long as I do not get a 1, 2, or 3, which I've been getting here, which was good for me. Hopefully I won't on this one. We will be good, and all my torpedoes will hit. 7. That's what I'm talking about. Babies are coming out of the gate hot. Okay, so all my torpedoes are hitting. So 4 -1, 3, plus my torpedo skill of 3 gives me a +6 on my torpedo rolls against this guy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 4 dice, and I'm going to pick the highest. This is where it differs from some other submarine games, is that you don't take and go with all of these hits, determining, you know, what happens to each one. You just take and get your best modifier. So that's why you want to fire more than one torpedo at someone, because you get those extra plus bonus modifiers for firing a whole spread of them. So that firing 4 got me a +3 modifier since I hit. But in earlier campaigns, when you're more likely to get a dud, or if you don't have torpedo modification, it could have where only half of them hit, and then I would only be getting a +1, or just one of them hit, and then, you know, I'm getting nothing. So firing a bunch of torpedoes is definitely in your definitely behooves you. All right, so let's take and roll here, see what we're going to get, and grab the card. Since his torpedo roll is a 6, I've already got him, since I've got a 6 with the 2 +3s, but we'll see what our highest hit is going to be anyway. All right, it looks like we got 2 4s, a 5, and a 6, so we got a total of 12. We destroyed him, like horribly tore him the hell up. So, boom, he sinks down to Davy Jones' locker. And then you would annotate, if you're keeping track of it, the tonnage and the XP and the victory points. So we got a victory point and we got an XP out of sinking this merchant ship. We'll pull these off. And now we get to resolve our attack against the escort here. We're going to take and roll some extra dice. We're going to roll 6 on this one, since we've got 6 going. And our modifiers on this one are going to be +3 again for my torpedo skill, and a +5 for having 6 torpedoes going, 6 - 1. But we're getting a -1 for him being at range 1 from us. You're subtracting whatever your range is. So our total is actually a +7, so we're probably going to blow this guy out as well, considering if we look at his card, his torpedo numbers are 5, 6, and 8, which means we need to get an 8. So adding a 1 to it, even with a 1, we're going to destroy him up. But that is fine. That's going to work for us just fine. Let's take and roll off on it. All right, we got a 10 + 7. We got 17. We destroyed him. I mean, absolutely obliterated. Let's just throw these back in here. But this, you guys can see really easily why I'm saying grab some extra D10s. Anyone who plays any war games, they're going to have a buttload of D10s. So, you know, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. But you definitely want to have some extra lying around if you're playing this game. All right, I went ahead and moved my submarine back over here to the map to show you guys what you're going to do when you get to here. And you see I flipped him over to the surface side and I moved him into the search box to signify that he was done, because the one contact that we had, we eliminated. So we pull that off. Now, if we had extra contacts left, we could take and do them at this point. First, though, you need to take and add 1 stress point for surviving the contact, and you could reload your torpedoes that you had in your unready section back to ready. You couldn't add more, but like my submarine, what did it have? 14 extra? Yeah, 14 more that I could take and go ahead and put in my ready section to take and use on my next contact if I had another one I wanted to do. You would make sure to record your XP, victory points, all that good stuff at that point as well. And you could take and continue to do contacts. Like say I had rolled 3 here, I could do another contact, draw another convoy card, go through the whole process again, or I could retreat if I was too badly damaged and go, you know, to the search box and complete my turn. It's really up to you. And there is even an option to reattack the convoy that you were just engaged with if you wanted to try to finish them off. And there's something kind of like what you would call a final salvo, where if there's just like one damaged ship left behind, you can expend a torpedo to wipe them out at that point. Now, the cool part about the game is there are rules, just like any other DVG game, for taking and having campaign going, where you would take, you know, doing your long campaign, refit your subs after you had run your mission, send them back out, doing more searches, and just seeing what type of score you could get at the end of your campaign. I will say for me that as far as the game is concerned, let me pan it back out a little bit since I'm just saying all the last few words here, that it took me a little bit to get my head around how this works as far as like the lag movement and the way you're just going for a total torpedo score instead of firing off your massive torpedo salvo and then scoring it for each one of the torpedoes that you fired, instead of just you're rolling a bunch and you're trying to get one high score to take out the guys. It's just because I had played games with different mechanics. I gotta say, I do like the tactical board here where you're moving around. It does give a more tactical feel for the submarine type combat, since you can surface, you can dive, you can go silent running and all that good stuff to try to avoid them. One thing that I did not touch on too much because I didn't take too much damage, but I'll address it real quick, is you see on the card there on the right where it has EV, your evasion number, and this guy, when he's in OK status, has an evasion number 4. So for every 2 of those that you have, it would reduce your damage taken by 1 light chit. So if I were to take either 2 light damage or 1 heavy damage, I would draw that fewer amount from the cup when I was taking and drawing for my damage. Obviously, as you take stress and become shaken, you're going to have less of an evasion score, and there is damage that you can take that's going to mess with that number as well. It's a neat mechanic in the tank leader type games, Sherman leader and Tiger. You've got a defensive number that you're actually rolling when you're taking attacks, and I found this one to be, what's the way to put it, like, I don't want to say like overly easy. Like this one almost felt like it took out too much of the damage, but it really depends on the submarine, because if you're playing with a submarine that's a higher skill level, you're going to have one that has a higher evasion, obviously, which is going to reduce a lot of your damage taken. But if you have one with a low evasion skill, you're going to be eating a lot of damage chits that can knock you out really quick. So I guess it really just depends on the submarine that you're playing with. I do like the mechanic. I like seeing something different besides just roll a die, see what you get, and go from there. So it's neat to me that they have enemy attacks that have nothing to do with rolling a dice to see what type of modifier or whatever thing that you get, and it depends on your own personal score versus what type of damage you get, and you can mitigate it by doing certain types of movements on the board, keep yourself out of ramming range or out of detection range, as you guys saw me doing over here. So if you're looking for another submarine game, if you like Hunters and you like Silent Victory, you like Still Wolves and what's that, Silent War, I think is the name of that one, stuff like that, DVG's got you taken care of as far as Gato Leader or U-Boat Leader. Both of them fun games. I enjoy them. The big thing for me is and always will be when it comes to DVG games is purchasing your units. I love it. I always loved it, taking and figuring out what's the best set of units or troops or men or equipment or bombs or whatever it is that I can get for the amount of points that I have that are going to complete the mission, or deliberately handicapping myself, like in Hornet Leader when I took all the AV-8Bs and put a bunch of rockets on them just to see how they did against all those Cthulhu monsters. That's to me where always the fun is going to come from in a DVG game. I love that. So if you like that aspect, if you like designing your own troops and figuring out what you're going to take and having that variability for every mission that you want to partake in, Gato Leader is going to definitely take care of you as far as that's concerned. Components are great. Definitely like it. The only nag that I would give the game is the fact that it should come with more dice, since you do have to roll for so many torpedoes. 1 dice isn't enough. I would say at least 3 would be like a minimum of D10s for something like this. 2, at a minimum, but the 1 really just is not enough for a game where you're rolling so many torpedoes. I mean, you could be firing like I was 10 torpedoes off, so you need to have more than just 1 D10 in there. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. You guys take care. I will see you in the next one.